Monday, December 30, 2013, 9:25. He was a man of science and a man of God. Father Milivan pauses to wipe his brow. As a nuclear physicist, he could see the mysterious workings of our Lord in even the smallest things. I thought he was an atheist, whispers Brad over my shoulder. We are standing in the front row under the Byzantine dome. My dad is standing next to me, his head bowed and his slight shoulders crushed further by the weight of loss. Kylie and I have had a row about Frank's will. She threatened to boycott the funeral, but relented at the last minute, and is now standing on the other side of Dad and Mum in silent protest. He was also a family man, even though he didn't have a wife and children of his own. He was devoted to his brother Jack. He nods towards the front row. His sister-in-law, Edna, Mum smiles and nods back, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, and his nephew, he looks at me. We will all miss him terribly. Frank didn't know this priest, did he? For God's sake, Brad, I whisper hoarsely, shut the fuck up. Okay, you're upset, I know. Brad leans back. I look over at my dad, who is lost in his own world and has heard nothing. God has taken away our dear Frank. He has taken him away for reasons that are known only to him. Brad whispers, 'Cause he never went to church, I reckon, and I glare at him. 2:50 p.m. Back at my house, I'm standing next to the fold-out table looking at the triangulated sandwiches, diced cheese, and glutinous sushi provided by Doer and Sons, the one-stop funeral directors. Mum and Kylie are standing on the other side, talking quietly. Mr. Djurdjevic seems to have taken it very badly, says Kylie, tilting her head towards Dad, who's sitting alone under the pergola with his head in his hands. And so he should. It was his fault. You didn't say that, did you? Of course I did. I warned him before. I said, Jack, someday you're going to kill someone with your cooking. And now he has. His own brother. Is Auntie Beres okay? She's still getting over the shock of it all. To think that she waited all that time for Frank to notice her. May not be nice to say this, but my sister can do a whole lot better. Yes, Frank was too weird and very difficult to talk to. He was boring, dear, like my Jack, only worse. All that scientific nonsense made him unable to talk about things that really matter. But what makes me really mad is how he completely ignored us in his will. Don't even get me started on that one. Dan's like, I don't care, Frank had a right to do whatever he wanted with his money. And I'm like, but Dan, you were like his favourite relative. Can't we contest the will or something? But he's like, no, we can't do that. Like, it's not even possible. And why not? Frank was clearly out of his mind. Exactly, I got so angry with your son, Edna, I really did. You had every right to, dear. I'll have a chat to Daniel. Don't you worry about that. I simply cannot believe that Frank left everything to this pickle jar fellow. Picklejig. His name is Fenyops Picklejig, I interrupt. Whatever. Mum waves me away, without even turning around. He had a house up in Wanneroo and a flash new car. He must have had stacks of money. God knows he was always flying off to the East Coast and overseas on some kind of fishy business. Probably kinky too. I mean, if you leave all your money to a man, it must say something, mustn't it? Well, I think so. Now, to change the subject, Edna lowers her voice. Kylie, dear, who was that girl Brad was talking to outside the church? The tart with the long black hair? I don't know. Didn't like her, though. Looked all up herself, all la-di-da, and her legs were too skinny. Far too skinny. Maybe Dan knows who she was. Dan! I hear her, but I'm walking away in disgust towards Dad, who is still sitting hunched over under the pergola.